Hey folks, thanks for joining me today. I wanted to highlight Amplitube 5 from IK Multimedia today. Just really appreciate this program and what they're doing, this company, all the way from their guitar products to the speakers that they make, the monitors. Man, what a full-featured company with a lot of great R&D. They really do their homework on everything, and yeah, just been really impressed. One reason I wanted to do that this week, they came out with a collaboration with Morley pedals, which is a classic guitar effects company, been around a very long time. And they released a few emulations of those pedals within Amplitube 5. And the one I wanted to highlight today is the EVO1, which was a echo volume pedal with an oil can delay inside, actually in the big part of the actual pedal. Well, it's a big pedal in general, but you have a foot pad for volume and effect levels, and then there was a large housing up here in this area of the pedal that had an oil can rotating disc delay in it. But while we're here, I just wanted to highlight a few other things about Amplitube that are really stellar, in my opinion, and just make it a really great tool. So first things first, I'm playing a Strat. I'll probably leave it in the 4th position just to kind of let you hear the nature of the effects. So this is going to be a thinner sounding guitar type signal, classic Strat sound, okay? But that's going to allow you to hear sort of the sonic footprint of the effects. First of all, I'm using their the collaboration they did with Fender on emulating their amps. This is a deluxe. It just sounds great. I mean, I'll put some reverb in here. Pretty much right on the money. Here's some trem. Put them together. Anyway, pretty great. And I think what we'll do is just go through several different things that I think are helpful about this program. But one thing to talk about is some rack effects. So let's go ahead and throw an LA2A style compressor over here. So I'm just barely moving the meter there. This is more for color than it is for peak limiting. And then let's throw a plate reverb in here just to have that. We'll come back to that. This is sort of their cab and mic emulation situation. This is an amp room, like a studio amp closet. And we may talk about something else in that section in a little bit. But let's come over. I mean, there's so much stuff in this, and also the Tonex plugin is also amazing, and these both come as standalone software on your computer as well. But anyhow, let's see here. Let's get back to the Morley. So I've had the privilege of playing a few of these old Morley units. One was this one, and the other was like a power wah. I think they may have called it a contour wah. I can't remember. But actually, IK has released that as well. I don't have it pulled up right now, but I remember just being sort of stunned by the strength of the sound of these effects. They're really strong, and I think you'll hear that in this emulation of the EVO1. I'm kind of an oil can delay junkie or echo unit junkie. I had an opportunity to buy a few of them over the years from more the standalone head units, but I never felt like I could justify having them around if I couldn't maintain them. They're a little fidgety, or a lot fidgety. So, and also not a lot was known, and the parts were not as easily replaced. There are people out there who are sort of preserving these, and they do a great job, but you kind of have to know, well, you kind of have to have somebody who can get into the mechanical side of that pedal, because it's actually, I don't know, like a pulley system in in there rotating this little can of oil. And of course it's recording to a metal disc, but also there's a capacitor involved in there, and it's really a special sound. But one thing that I think of with the oil can delay is that sort of warbling, rotary type sound, but it's pretty dark, because that capacitor, the value of the cap in that recording system, and also the oil itself, the thickness or viscosity of the oil. All right, enough of that. Let's get into how this thing sounds. Okay, so here's the dry tone again. All right. So here we go. Let's talk about this over here first. Okay, first of all, you can set this to a BPM if you'd like. We're not going to do that right now. And it'll lock to your DAW's BPM or whatever you set it to down here in the program itself. Okay, let's listen to the disc noise. This is going to be quite loud. Here we have a disc erase feature. This is like sort of a multi-tap. Let's say it this way. There's feedback over here with the main echo repeats. Then there's this kind of alternate repeat over here. All right, I'll just show you that real quick. So it's the longer one. So in this particular moment, it's sort of an eighth note, I would say. Or maybe, yeah, sorry, quarter, more of a quarter type sound, depending on the tempo. All right, we're going to take that out for right now. But one thing that will do is it will gallop along with the main fundamental echo over here. Okay, so it'll gallop along with that, and it'll also cause the pedal to go into self-oscillation. All right, here we have basically effect value or loudness of the effect. We also have a loudness for the repeats here. Okay, so let's start with the repeats all the way up. You can also just use this as a volume pedal down here. You can click on that. And then we'll talk about the stereo feature in a little bit. All right, so what we have right now is kind of a slap. So it's pretty loud right now. You can hear that warbling. Most people associate that with tape echoes. This is a slightly different warble, I would say. Nice technical term there. It's a little bit closer to like a magnetone vibrato circuit. Let's bring those repeats, the feedback up. That's a fun sound. You'd have to find a place to use that, but it's kind of cool. All right, let's take our delay time up a little bit. Nice. So it'll go into self-oscillation if you max out the feedback there. Here's that echo, the volume of the echoes here. Now let's make that gallop a little bit with this control over here. So now we're getting this multi-tap sound. So let's bring the feedback down over here. Let's bring this guy in. So there's a little bit of a follower you can hear there. Interesting multi-tap sound. So a multi-tap delay is useful in a lot of different scenarios, but one way to think of it is to not play percussively, but to play, or this is where we get into using volume swells. All right, let's put some of that disc noise in. A little bit never hurt anybody. True to the original. So now we're getting into that territory where everybody gets addicted to delay. And you can hear how dark those repeats are. Pretty special. Let's compare it to their Memory Man. So we'll set that to 500. vibrato setting. It's a great memory man setting. I wanted to show you too their Univibe. This is really spectacular. Here's the vibrato. Good stuff. That chorusy thing is really fun for rhythm parts. Anywhere from Jimi Hendrix to Merle Haggard or that kind of thing. Merle Travis, right? Anyway, history lessons, little phaser type thing. Anyway, okay, let's look at something else on the Morley here. So the Morley is in a mono mode. Listen to that disc noise working. Okay, so let's talk about, we're hitting the amp mono. Now let's put spatial dimension. Okay, so we're going to put a plate reverb in stereo. Again, this is where people get addicted to these sounds and they start using them too much. All right, let's take the disc noise out and we're going to throw this pedal into a stereo situation. Okay, so we're going to drag it past the cabinet. Past the cabinet over here. Well, here, let's empty this out. There we go. Okay, now let's switch over to stereo mode here. And you're going to hear a dry signal on one side and an affected signal on the other, okay? Now this is how a lot of vintage stereo pedals were set up. Okay, dry signal on one side, affected on the other. Now let's add some dimension to that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and knock out that compressor for a second, and we're going to go back to a reverb. Okay, so if you put a spatial aspect after the stereo effect, then it's going to start kind of swirling. Instead of sounding so starkly left and right with just the pedal, now we're going to hear this sort of blending or smoothing or smearing type stereo sound. Okay, so I'll just do a swell into this. and most likely we're sort of overdriving the Morley. So let's take that effect level down a little bit. Let's see. Great stuff. So, man, sort of a darker, soupier delay. You can really get outrageous with it. I mean, if we start letting in some more of this feedback disc erase situation, if we increase the feedback over here, I mean, it really is going to get wild. So I think you get the picture there. There's so many good things in this program and so many ways to get a great dry tone as well. I mean, there's just some really dead-on accurate stuff in here. Really recommend this program to check out. Man, I can't really even start to get into the list here. So many amps, a great Leslie situation in this as well. Let's just see what that sounds like in its stock form real quick. Okay, thanks for hanging with me, and I hope you have time to check this program out sometime, and I'll see you next time.